You think a 256GB SSD tells you everything? It doesn't, because two drives can share that exact number and be 20 times apart in speed, and one of them might not even be the same type of storage at all. There's no dial on the outside that shows you the difference. Here's every type of computer storage explained, how each one actually stores your data, and which one you should actually buy. The HDD. The original computer storage, and still the one most external and bulk drives used today. Spinning magnetic platters, read and written by a mechanical arm that moves back and forth. The same basic idea since the 1950s. How fast? Around 150 megabytes per second. The physical spinning caps it hard, no matter how good the electronics are. How it connects? SATA cable, same as most SSDs. The cost. This is the win, roughly 2 cents per gigabyte, which is why a 20 terabyte HDD costs about the same as a 2 terabyte SSD. The catch. That red write head hovers nanometers above the platter without touching it. Drop a running HDD, and the head can crash into the platter and destroy your data. Quick one. If you're the type who actually wants to know what's inside your PC, subscribe. It genuinely helps. The HDD moves a physical arm to find your data. The next drive on this list has no moving parts at all, and that single change rewrites every number we just talked about. The SATA SSD. Same 2.5-inch shape as a laptop HDD, but swap the spinning platter for a grid of flash memory chips and a controller. How fast? About 550 megabytes per second, 3.5 times an HDD. How it connects? The same SATA cable as the HDD it replaced, which is exactly the problem. That cable maxes out at 600 megabytes per second, no matter how fast the flash chips inside could go. Term branded. The SATA ceiling. The cost, roughly 8 cents per gigabyte, pricier than an HDD. But the trade is worth it for most people. No moving parts means it survives being dropped in a laptop bag, and it boots a computer in seconds instead of a minute. SATA hit a wall it couldn't move past. So the industry didn't upgrade the cable, it deleted the cable. That's the connector everyone gets confused about next. M.2. Here's the confusion this whole video exists to clear up. M.2 is not a speed, and it's not even a storage technology. It's a physical shape. A small gum-stick-sized slot on the motherboard, usually 22 millimeters wide and 80 millimeters long. No cable required. The Mythbuster, an M.2 slot can hold either an old-style SATA drive or a modern NVMe drive, and they can look almost identical from the outside. Plugging the wrong one in or misreading a listing is the single most common storage buying mistake. The way to actually tell them apart, the listing has to say NVMe explicitly, and the connector notch differs. A SATA M.2 has 2 notches, NVMe has 1. How it connects. This is the how it connects answer, not the how fast one. M.2 is just the socket. Cost, near identical to SATA SSD per gigabyte for the SATA flavor stick. NVMe M.2 costs more, which brings us to the part that's actually fast. M.2 is just the socket shape. What actually moves the data, the real rulebook, is next. NVM. Not a shape, not a cable spec, a protocol, the actual rulebook for how data moves. It works by wiring the drive directly into the PCIe lanes your processor already uses, completely skipping the SATA ceiling from before. How fast? This is generational. PCIe Gen 3, NVMe hits about 3,500 megabytes per second. Gen 4 roughly doubles that to 7,000. Gen 5 exceeds 14,000 megabytes per second, almost 100 times faster than the HDD we opened with. How it connects? An M.2 slot, almost always, which is exactly why the Mythbuster from before matters. Cost, the premium tier, but Gen 4 has become the mainstream default on new PCs. The catch, that much speed makes heat. Gen 4 and Gen 5 drives under sustained load can throttle themselves without a heatsink. Every drive so far plugs into a motherboard. The next one is soldered directly onto it, permanently. We're at the fast end of the list. From here, it's about where storage disappears entirely. If storage finally makes sense, subscribe. It's how the channel keeps making these. Back to it. eMMC, Embedded Multimedia Card. Term branded, the storage you can't upgrade. It's a single flash chip soldered directly onto the motherboard, found in budget laptops, Chromebooks, and cheap tablets. How fast? This is the honest weak point of this whole list. Roughly 250 megabytes per second, barely faster than the HDD we started with, because eMMC shares its data and command lines in a way SSDs don't. How it connects? It doesn't. There's no slot, no cable, it's fused to the board at the factory. The cost is the entire point. eMMC is cheap enough that manufacturers can hit a $250 laptop price tag. Buy a device with eMMC for anything beyond browsing and light work, and you will feel every gigabyte of that decision, every time it loads. eMMC is a chip you can never remove. The next kind of storage is a chip you're meant to remove constantly. The microSD and SD card. The removable storage in cameras, drones, the Nintendo Switch, and action cameras. A tiny flash chip in a plastic shell designed to be pulled out and swapped. How fast? It depends entirely on the speed class printed on the card. A basic Class 10 card crawls around 10 megabytes per second, while the fastest UHS-2 cards hit roughly 300 megabytes per second. A 30 times gap hiding under the same microSD name. How it connects? A dedicated card slot or a USB card reader. Cost. Among the cheapest storage per gigabyte on this entire list, which is exactly why it's the default for anything that shoots a lot of footage. The catch. That little size is also the risk. It's the easiest storage on this list to lose, and cheap cards are the most common counterfeit storage products sold online. A memory card is built to leave the device. The last drive on this list is built to leave your desk entirely. The USB flash drive. Take flash memory chips, skip the card slot form factor entirely, and build them straight into a USB connector. The thumb drive that's been in every junk drawer since the early 2000s. How fast? Wildly inconsistent. A cheap USB 2 stick barely clears 30 megabytes per second, while a USB 3.2 drive can push past 400. The port on the outside gives no guarantee of the chips on the inside. Term branded, the speed you can't see from the shape. How it connects? Directly into any USB-A or USB-C port. No reader, no cable, no software. The most universal storage on this entire list. Cost, cheap at small capacities, but price per gigabyte climbs fast past 256 gigabytes, worse than an equivalent SSD. The catch? No encryption by default, easy to lose, and years of sitting unused can actually degrade the data on cheaper flash chips. Every drive on this list still lives in a physical box somewhere. There's one more kind of storage worth a mention that lives nowhere at all. Two you'll still run into. Cloud storage. Your files on someone else's drive in a data center streamed to you over the internet, which is genuinely nowhere and everywhere at once. And optical discs, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, the format storage mostly left behind, still hanging on for physical movie collections and some software installs. So out of everything on this list, here's the one spec that actually decides what you should buy and the 3 picks that come out of it. The one spec, how you're using the drive, not the number on the box. A bigger number never fixes the wrong type. Everyday laptop or browsing. PC, a 512GB NVMe Gen 3 or Gen 4 SSD. Fast enough to never notice, cheap enough not to feel it. Gamer or creator, NVMe Gen 4, 1TB or more with a heatsink. Load times and export times both live or die on this one spec. Bulk storage, footage, backups, archives, a big HDD paired with a small NVMe boot drive. Let the HDD hold terabytes cheap, Let the NVMe hold the operating system fast. Do that, and you've matched the drive to the job instead of just the price tag. That's every type of computer storage, from the spinning HDD that started it all to the USB stick in your junk drawer. Same basic job, wildly different speed, connection, and price. If this made storage finally makes sense, subscribe. New tech explained every week. And if you haven't seen it yet, watch Every PC Component Explained next, where we open up everything the drive actually plugs into.